Well, Jamie, earlier in the newscast, we told you about the latest Obamacare delay over equal health benefits for employers and employees. The proposal, though, was put into the law back in 2010, but now 4 years later has been put on hold over questions from the IRS. So why wasn't this already sorted out? Just the latest delay to hit the program. And what does it mean for the eventual success of Obamacare? Republican Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas joins us. He's a member of the Appropriations Committee, has been an Obamacare critic, and he is in Manhattan, Kansas right now. Senator, welcome.
Good to join you from the Little Apple.
The Little Apple, right, as opposed to the Big Apple where we're at. Are you surprised at this latest? Are you surprised at this latest delay? I mean, they keep on coming almost every weekend, it seems. Some other surprise, mysterious announcement. Oops, another delay.
No, I mean, it's hard to be surprised anymore. You can be concerned. Here's what it does to me. It reminds me of two things. One, that the Affordable Care Act is so onerous, so poorly considered, has huge problems, that the administration is once again delaying one more aspect of it. But also troubling is the fact that the administration has taken on the role, in my view, outside the Constitution, that gives legislative authority. The Constitution gives legislative authority to Congress. And here, once again, we have an administration that one more time, without consulting Congress, without legislative changes, is altering their signature piece of legislation, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. So this can be attacked. This is evidence of problems in two areas. One, the terrible nature of the consequences of Obamacare. And two, an administration that one more time is utilizing whatever authorities it believes it has to do things without involving the congressional branch. And of course, it reminds me that we have Harry Reid, the Democrat leader of the Senate, who really allows no legislation to come to the Senate floor and no opportunity to offer amendments to fix these kind of things, to have the real legislative debate on the consequences of Obamacare.
Well, you just raised an interesting issue. The president says he's going to use the power of his pen to get action, in his words, basically cutting Congress out. How do you feel about that? It's not just, as you say, Obamacare. It's a variety of issues.
Absolutely. I mean, what the Constitution says is always subject to a court interpretation. But this doesn't seem outside the realm of what we learned in middle school government class, in high school government class. We were told that it is the executive branch that enforces the law, but it is Congress, the legislative branch, that enacts the law. And as lousy a terrible law as the Affordable Care Act is, it was enacted by Congress, and therefore only Congress can make the change. And incidentally, this is another series, and one in a series of delays, changes by the administration. But you know, they keep forgetting, they fail to change the one that really matters. How about the changing the actual individual mandate? I mean, if you really wanted to do something to help the American people, the one that they refuse to deal with is the individual mandate that's causing so much problems for so many people across the country.
But, Senator, the White House defends the law. You know, the supporters, of course, say it's very important that millions of uninsured Americans will be insured because of this. And even though there's some bumps in the road now, they got to get the kinks out. And once they do, it's going to work.
Well, look, I've always thought we can improve our health care system. I have concern for people who fall through the cracks. It's not that our health care system is perfect. But couldn't we have developed a health care plan that that was much more incremental? Get rid of this idea that we got to pass the whole thing to find out what's in it. Make changes, small changes at a time, trying to improve the system over a period of time. But here's something that's very important. We have concerns raised by Kansans and by Americans every day. Part of my job is to help people, and it's very difficult to do that, to help them manage their way through the Affordable Care Act and its consequences upon themselves, their families, and their businesses. But clearly, Congress could have passed a law, and the president could have signed a law that improved health care for those that fall through the cracks without doing such huge and significant damage to the people that had something they liked. And I still think that the most damaging feature of the Affordable Care Act today is the promise that if you like your policy, you can keep it, which turns out to be, and which was known from the very beginning. This is not an unintended consequence, known from the very beginning not to be true.
30 seconds left. There are concerns that what's going to happen with people who have health care at work is the coming year. Do you think this is going to get worse or better?
Absolutely. That's going to get worse. The next stage is that people who work for a company that employs less than 50 people, therefore, quote, not covered by the Affordable Care Act. The next thing we're going to see is those companies dropping their insurance for their employees. one more round of no longer covered notices. Your policy is no longer available.
All right, Senator, we thank you so much for joining us with your insight.
Eric, thank you very much.
Certainly will continue. Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas from Manhattan, Kansas today. Thank you, Senator. Well, for more on